Are you curious what it really means to follow Jesus? I mean, really means, not no lukewarm Christian, nothing like that, but the true meaning of following Jesus. And I'm talking about the Jesus from the Bible. So if that's who you're thinking about, then you should stay throughout this whole episode. But let's get into it. What does it really mean to follow Jesus? Is it just believing or something more? Do I have to give up everything I love to follow him? How do I hear God's voice and know what he wants me to do? Welcome to Unseen Fire Podcast. I'm so glad you're watching. Make sure you watch the whole episode, and please help us get to at least 150 views, because I already average 80, and I know that's not a lot. Like, that's really not a lot, but the most helps so we can reach more people. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. All that engagement helps push this video out to other people that are just like you. Now, before we start this episode, this is completely unrelated, but I thought it'd be interesting to mention this. There was this guy, okay, who I'm not gonna name any names. Well, it may not be his real name anyways, but there's this guy who subscribed to my channel, right? And it was because I had released a short, and the short was like like, what is a reason that turned you away from Christianity? Well, this person subscribed to my channel, and I think this is what I think happened. They went to my channel because they thought I was like an atheist or something, and that I was just asking because you could possibly get that thought. And so he went to my channel and then realized that this was not an atheist channel, and then unsubscribed. So it kind of breaks my heart. It really does. It breaks my heart. But today's episode, we're gonna talk about like what it really means to follow Jesus, like I said in the beginning. And so I have one verse that to top this all off. One more thing for all the Christians out there and the people who do not believe in God, if you're watching this. I thought it was very interesting. I've been reading the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis, and it says that basically, if you don't know what the Screw Tape Letters are, they push the reasons. Like, it's about a demon and his uncle, and he's basically mentoring his nephew on how to be a good demon and pull people to hell, and so all this type of stuff. Well, there's this part in the book, and it's like talking about how the devil and his demons will like get you to avoid thinking of deep thoughts, like how the universe started and everything. So I thought, if we're gonna start the video and there's a non-Christian watching, I just want you to think about those types of thoughts, like how the universe was created, what your purpose is here for, and how likely is a divine creator over our world. And also, if you are a Christian, you should ask those type of questions. That's why I asked the question in the short, and it may give people atheist vibes, but that's fine with me because it pushed them to the channel, and they were like, "Yay!" And then they were like, "Oh," but it's okay. So to get into the episode, I have a verse to start us off. It's actually the only verse that I'm actually going to mention. So just stick with me. In Luke 9, verse 23, it says, "And he said to all," and this is Jesus speaking, he said, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me." So this verse is pointing at that you need to take up your cross. And how do you take up your cross? Is basically, if you're taking up your cross for Jesus, it's giving away all your selfish desires, everything like that. You're going to do what Jesus is preaching in the whole word, like whether that's helping people, being generous with your money, anything like that. You are going to participate in those things as a Christian, and you're gonna like get rid of all your selfishness and everything like that, and you're going to just spend that following Jesus. Now, first of all, if you're taking up your cross, that means you're going to follow Jesus's teaching, which means like everything Jesus did in his lifetime is the way we're supposed to act. So whenever he treated people with a loving heart or stuff like that, that's how we're supposed to act. When he went out and taught people about his Father who was in heaven, that is taking up your cross. So to share with your family and friends, it doesn't have to be on a big platform, or anything like that, you could just let a friend know that, hey, look, Jesus is the creator of the universe, and I just want you to know about him because I care about your soul, and doing it in a loving way, not a condemning way. And so when you do that, you're taking up your cross, and this is what Jesus asks us to do. He says, if you want to follow me, you will take up your cross and do what I do. And so we're using Jesus as the prime example for how we're supposed to act and treat other people. So you're going to give up your selfish ways, like if there's something you didn't want to do, you'll give that up because you're going to be loving towards someone who doesn't believe in God, and share the good news with someone, because how would you feel if you never heard the word from someone before? But it does say that God shows us through his creation so that none of us will have excuse on judgment day. So if you are not a Christian, just be aware of that. That is Bible facts right there. But and then whenever it says that to deny yourself, that is very important, because to deny yourself is not being a lukewarm Christian. And if you don't know what a lukewarm Christian is, a lukewarm Christian is someone who preaches something but does something else, basically a hypocrite. But they'll like, they'll be in this, like, as it describes, a lukewarm relationship with Jesus. So they'll be like, I go to church, and I donate to charity. And so that's enough. That's enough to get me by and go to heaven. No, it's not. That's not enough to get you by, and not enough to get you to go to heaven. Jesus said you have to deny yourself. What does denying yourself look like? Denying yourself is like, so like if you're addicted to porn, or you like cussing, or you like to drink alcohol, or anything like that, and anything that gives you pleasure, you will throw those things away, and that is denying yourself, because in the Bible it says that we are born sinful and born with a sinful nature. So if you're born with a sinful nature and you have the drive to, want the porn, want the drugs, want the alcohol, want the substances, want the bad relationships that you have, that's by nature. And so we're supposed to reject those things. We're supposed to push those things out, because logically, those are all things that we enjoy doing, whether we know they're right or wrong. We enjoy doing that thing. So Jesus is saying, hey, all these things that you enjoy to do, you cannot do them anymore if you're going to follow me. You have to deny your self desires, deny all the pleasures of the world, as Jesus calls them. These are the things of the world, but the things of Christ are so much better. And so when you do these things, your relationship with God will be much better, and just your overall life will be better. Now, another thing for you to be able to do this daily, to take up your cross daily and deny yourself, is you need the fundamentals for faith, because faith is important in this story that you're going to build with your relationship with Christ. Because if you do not have faith, then you won't be able to accomplish the things that God wants you to accomplish through him. So like if it's like you're doubting yourself and you're saying, I've had this chronic thing that I do repetitively all the time and I can't get rid of it, whether it's substance abuse or something like that, and you're like, I just can't shake it. I've tried so hard. Faith and belief. You have to believe in God and trust in Jesus that he can take that thing away from your life, and that you'll be so much better without it. And you have to believe that it's not something that controls you. You don't have control over it, but Jesus does. And through him we can do anything, as it says in the Bible. It says, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And so when you pray for those things, if you pray constantly about that thing that you're struggling with, or you don't think that you can get rid of on your own, exercise your faith in Jesus and say, Lord, please take this away from me. Please help me to avoid this sin. Keep the devil's, work over my life out. Keep it all out. If you've been watching the last couple of episodes, you know that I do the questions thing just right now. It's just a thing that I'm getting used to doing because, well, I like this part. So I have 7 questions, and why 7? Because that's the perfect number. So I chose 7 questions that people normally ask, and I'm gonna answer them, just based off this topic. All right, now question one is, what does it really mean to follow Jesus? Is it just believing or something more? No, it is not just believing. You can't just believe in God. That is not all it takes. Now, you do have to be saved, you have to believe that Jesus died on the cross and rose again for your sins. That is number one. That is what it takes to be saved. But it also takes internal, like, what your actually heart is saying, and if you have a personal relationship with God. If you don't have a personal relationship with God, then your faith is pointless. If you're just going through the motions of church and everything like that, then it does just mean more than believing. It's not just the belief. Now, question two. Question two says, how do I know if I'm truly following him and not just saying I am? Well, do you have a personal relationship with God? Do you do the things like, do you pray to God? Do you go to church? And you don't even have to go to church to have an actual relationship. But to know if you're truly following him, are you giving up your worldly desires? Are you pursuing Christ? Are you loving others? Are you doing all of those things? If you are, you're not just saying that you're following Christ. Now, question three. Why does following Jesus sometimes feel so hard or lonely? Well, brother, let me tell you the answer to that question. It's because it's against our human nature. We are sinful, bro. If we're born sinful, then it feels so lonely because the rest of the world is doing it. And so, they're all doing things that they desire and that the world wants them to desire. So they're all doing it. And then we're just sitting off here in our corner, like, and we're supposed to be the example of Christ, and so we're not doing all the things that the world's doing. And so then when they look at us and they're like, hey, why aren't you doing this, be like, because I'm supposed to be a prime example of Jesus. And so you feel lonely because you're not participating in those things with those people. But if you also feel this way, I wouldn't say I feel this way a lot, but I would say if you feel that way, then you should find a Christian group of friends, something like that. If life feels lonely, you should turn to Christian communities, someone who understands you and that can, help you in your faith and everything, and for you not to feel secluded. Don't be of the world, but be in the world. And so I think if you start to pray about it and everything, I think that'll really help you with that feeling if you do have it. And so, if you're pursuing a relationship with Jesus and, you let him take control of that, I think over time, as you progress into your Christian walk, you'll be like, I don't really care what the world's doing. I don't really want to participate in what the world's doing. And your heart will be more aligned with God. So it'll just be like, they're doing that. I don't really care. I got Jesus on my side, and that's all that matters. Now, going into question four, do you give up? Oh, wait. Do I have to give up everything I love to follow him? Yes, you do. Well, it depends on what you're saying. You're identifying as love. If you're saying like, do you have to give up popcorn, something that you love so much? No. I mean, you don't have to give up popcorn. I mean, unless you feel convicted by the Lord to give up your popcorn, you're pretty good on that. But like, if it's something that the Bible specifically condemns, then yes, you do need to give that up, being a Christian. Now, for any new Christians, uh, conviction is important. Learn to listen to the Lord and what He's telling you. And there's also Christian, to we're supposed to help each other and advance each other. So if someone points something out and you're like, yeah, man, I haven't paid attention to that, then you should also listen to them when they're talking and stuff. But because we're supposed to grow as a community, as the church family, and so you should take advice from other Christians and stuff. But I think, again, if it's something like popcorn or something, like, no, you don't have to give that up. But if it's something that's condemned in the Bible that God wouldn't want you doing, or that you feel convicted about, or it wasn't something that Jesus wouldn't have done, then yeah, you should turn that over. Now, question five is, how do I hear God's voice and know what He wants me to do? How you hear God's voice? I would say, for me, this is just for me. Normally, when I hear God's voice, is because I've been in the Word and I've been trying to live out a Christian lifestyle, And so, whenever I'm deeply connected to God, like, there's like spurts I'll go off and I'll be like, I'll forget my devotions a lot, and then I'll feel disconnected from God. And I'm like, why are you not speaking to me? Like, have you forgotten about me? And it feels very lonely at those points. But if you're staying in the word and you're working actively working on your relationship with God, I think God will speak to you through convictions and stuff like that. God's never spoken to me verbally, like I've never heard God verbally. For me, how it works, and I think you would just have to play this out for yourself and your personal walk. But for me, it's like a thought that goes into my head, and I'm like, where did that come from? You know what I'm saying? Like it's not something I would have thought of, and so that's how I know it's God. And then if it's something I'm unsure about, like it was a thought that came to my head, but then I'm like, was it me who was thinking that? I'll go pray about it. So I think you should pray about it, like ask God to speak to you. Also, make sure you're keeping up on your devotions and having a personal relationship with God, not just expecting Him to work on things and you not to do anything. So, question number 6 is, what if I don't feel close to Jesus? Does that mean I'm not following him right? Let's just be clear. There's probably like a lot of things in my life that I'm not doing right. You know what I'm saying? Like I could have a quick temper or anything, and I don't think about those things. And then those are not the right way to follow God and to be the example He wants me to be. But I would say it's not because of something that the lack of like your obedience to God. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong, but are you still working on that relationship with God? Is that why you feel so far away from God? Are you actively reading your Bible, doing your devotions, going to church, uh, like loving other people the way Jesus does? Because I tell you, if you participate in outreach programs or anything like that, your heart feels so much better. And that's why people get into, like, even non-Christians get into charitable work, because it just makes you feel so much better about the things that you're doing. And I feel like when you're a Christian and you do outreach stuff for that purpose, for Jesus to advance the kingdom, you'll feel so much closer to God. And so that's what I would recommend doing if you're feeling far. And I mean, if it's not ceasing by then, I would just pray for it. If prayer is very strong, even though sometimes it might not feel like it, it is. Now, moving on to question 7, which says, how do I stay strong in my faith when life doesn't go the way I expected? What I would answer to this is if you mean by expected, you mean like something bad happens in the family, like say your grandma dies or something like that. Again, prayer. Prayer is very important. Keeping your personal relationship with Jesus strong throughout that. God rewards us whenever we keep our faith in the hard times. So if you're going through something that's like very difficult, God might be testing your faith. Like, and I mean, obviously, I haven't like had someone very close to me pass away. Um, but if that does happen, if it's something like that in this scenario, like your grandparent or someone you really loved passed away, you just stay strong in your faith, and you work through those things with God. Don't try to push God out of the picture because you're upset or anything, but just try to include him as much as possible. That is your faith, at work. So God will reward you for those things. And yeah, so just staying in your Bible, going to church, leaning on other people who maybe have the same viewpoints. I think even maybe if they don't have the same viewpoints, that you could still lean on them for that, but mostly lean on Jesus for any of the any of your problems. Now, look, if you watched or listened to this whole episode, you're awesome, because that raises my retention for this video. And so I hope I was engaging enough throughout the episode to keep you till the end. If this video like in any way blessed you or made you think, maybe am I a true disciple of Jesus? Hopefully this video was not discouraging to you. I hope if anything it just encouraged you to get stronger in your faith. If you did like this episode, make sure you send it to someone you know. That would really help the channel go forward. I'm trying to hit that 150 views, just so we can get it out to more people, and try to make an impact from the word. So if you did enjoy it and it inspired you or anything like that, please share, like, and subscribe. And if you're on Spotify, thanks for listening. Rate the podcast. Rate the podcast. It's the best podcast on any platform. So thank you for watching, and I hope you have a blessed Sunday.